Still Pinder. Oh, ball is loose. The Giants have it. Scott Eaton's on the football.
That's a pretty good hitting going on there, I'll tell you.
Jimmy Files knocked it loose, and Scott Eaton covered it.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video, and welcome to the Gridiron. And before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you so much. Thank you. If you give this video maybe a thumbs up, or maybe leave a comment below, or possibly share this video, it just means so much to me. But anyway, just thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, the Giants going all in this year. Where did it all go wrong? I mean, well, it shouldn't have happened, right? I mean, last year we started off 1-7. Then we finished strong at 5-3. Finishing strong, right? And we started drinking the Kool-Aid, huh? Oh yeah, what could go wrong, right? Well, you know, finishing 5-3, just missing the playoffs. We just need to add a little bit here, a little bit there, and we should be good to go, right? Nope. So basically, we had a good defense last year. So we just beefed up the defense a little bit more. I mean, so it was good last year, right? Add a little bit to it, should be even better, right? Then, our offense, was weak. So, we went to Girly World. We spent some money. We got Saquon coming back, so the offense, should be good to go, right? Wrong. Let's start with the defense, okay? The problem is that, or we could have signed Dalvin Tomlinson and Leo the Lion, but then we couldn't have signed other guys. We couldn't have gotten Adoree Jackson, or some of the other guys. Maybe couldn't have got Kenny Golladay. So I mean, it was kind of like, how much do you want to spend on a defensive line? You know what I mean? I mean, if we were going to sign, we'd be spending probably about almost $40 million for the three guys on the defense. I mean, between whatever Dexter Lawrence is making, then Dalvin Tomlinson, then Leo the Lion, $35 to $40 million just for the defense. Three guys on the defense. Free defensive front. You had to let one of them go. So we took the educated guess, and we signed Leo for pretty much twice of what Dalvin Tomlinson's making. But Leo, he had those 11 sacks last year, right? So, and Dalvin Tomlinson is not much of a sacker. Okay, so you spend the money on a guy who can get you the sacks. The sexy pick, right? So, and of course, Leonard Williams, we traded some picks for him to get him. So that would be really embarrassing if we just let him go and we kept Dalvin Tomlinson. So Dave Gettleman was almost kind of forced to sign Leonard Williams and let Dalvin Tomlinson walk. Now also because Dalvin Tomlinson is not a Gettleman guy. He was a Jerry Reese guy. He was in the last draft that Jerry Reese had with the Giants. So Dave Gettleman had no ties to Dalvin Tomlinson. So unfortunately, we had to let him go. But we signed, Leonard Williams, right? 3 years, $63 million. And we brought in Adoree Jackson, 3 years, $39 million. We got, Lorenzo Carter was injured last year, so he's coming back. So that should help the defense. Oshane Ximines last year, he got hurt. He's coming back, right? So that should help the defense. We drafted Azeez Ojulari in the second round. We drafted Adoree Smith in the fourth round. So, so we got, Adoree Smith, Azeez Ojulari, the X-Man. We got Carter. We got four, guys from the edge, coming back or being drafted. So our edge should get even better than it was last. Not that it was very good last year, but it should be better. Okay, we had 40 sacks last year, so the addition, of these edge rushers, we should be getting 40 to 45 sacks at least. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We also drafted Aaron Robinson, okay, in the 3rd round, right? Very promising looking. Of course, it'd be nice once we see him on the field. Then we got Rodarius Williams later on, okay? So those 2 guys in the secondary was just what we're adding, to James Bradbury. Darnay Holmes had a nice, nothing super spectacular, but a nice rookie season. Hopefully, he could build on it from last year, and he'll be maybe a little bit better this year. Not the case, right? So we're adding those, the draftees to James Bradbury, Darnay Holmes, Adoree Jackson, right? Xavier McKinney, Logan Ryan, Jabrill Peppers, Julian Love. I mean, we got Adoree Jackson, right? Remember we had the revolving door at cornerback too. Remember all the talk last year was like, Bradbury's got these shutting down the corners over here. We gotta get some. It's horrible. All they're doing is, I keep reading stories, from last year. The offensive coordinator for the other team. All they're doing is they're just focusing on the cornerback too. That's who we're just throwing the ball at all game long. Well, don't worry about James Bradbury. He's doing a good job. He's shutting down, for the most part, doing a real good job over there. So we're just picking on the other cornerback. So now we got Adoree Jackson. So we got 2 cornerbacks. We're good to go, right? So we had a really good defense last year, and we added some pieces, and we should be better, right? Wrong, Last year the Giants were tied for number 12 overall with 40 sacks, okay, and with no edge rushers, you got 40 sacks. That's pretty doggone impressive. I mean, you got to pat your Graham on the shoulders. I mean, that's a wonderful job he's doing. This year, the Giants are tied for 27th. They have 10 sacks. They're on pace at a 16-game schedule. Okay, they're on pace for 26.5 sacks. Last year they had 40 on a 16-game schedule. That's why I'm not calculating, to be a 17-game schedule. I'm just trying to compare apples to apples. 16-game schedule, a 16-game schedule. That's all I'm doing. So all this, the firepower, the guys we got back and the guys we drafted and all this stuff and everything, we're on pace to get 13.5 less sacks than we did last year. We went from 12th, and right now we're tied for 27th, which is actually a step up because I think we were 31st, and we got the 2 sacks last week against the Rams. If we didn't get those 2 sacks last week, we'd still be like number 31 or so. But we got 2 sacks and we jumped up to 27th. Absolutely freaking pathetic. Last year the Giants were number 9 overall. They gave up 357 points allowed. They gave up 22.3 points per game. Not too bad. I mean, considering we had no offense, okay? Now, it's a theory of relativity, guys, okay? If your offense is good and they're on the field and they can move the ball, okay, your defense is on the sideline drinking Kool-Aid, okay? The defense is on the sideline not giving up any points. Well, when your offense stinks, like it did last year, okay, and, the offense, is 1, 2, 3 punt, your defense back on the field, sooner or later your defense is going to get tired, going to give up some points, right? So the Giants defense did this last year. Very, very good. They did very good with no offense, okay? So with the offense being better this year and we beefed up the defense should really be good this year. Nope. Last year the Giants were number 12 in yards allowed. Okay, 5,589. They gave up averaging 349 yards given up per game, which was not too bad. Once again, because we had also no offense. If our offense was on the field, those yards per 349 yards per game would come down. Would be in the low 300s for sure. Okay, this year the Giants are number 27th. They've given up 2,463 yards. They're averaging 410 yards a game given up. They're giving up over 60 yards more a game. That's a scoring drive. They're averaging giving up 61 yards more per game this year. So even if you basically say they get the ball thrown 20, the other team, okay, they go 60 yards. Now they're down at the Giants 20. That's a field goal. If they're not in the red zone, maybe scoring a touchdown, that's almost a guaranteed field goal. Last year, the Giants, okay, they were not didn't do a phenomenal job. They were 24th, but that's because we had a weak second corner back, right? They were 24th. They gave up 67.6% completion percentage. So every two out of every three passes were being completed against the Giants. So that's not really good. But I said, when we got Adoree Jackson this year, now we got two cornerbacks. Lock them down, baby. We're good to go, right? Wrong. This year, the Giants are 32nd. They are the worst team in the NFL. They're giving up 73.9% completion percentage. They're giving up 74% completion percentage. 3 out of every 4 passes that are being thrown are being completed against the Giants. Absolutely pathetic. The absolute worst in the league. Oh, unbelievable. Last year, the Giants were number 5 defensive-wise in touchdown passes allowed. They only allowed 22 touchdown passes the whole year. So it was like a little shy of 1.5 per game. Okay, so basically like every 2 games they gave up 3 touchdown passes. So you really can't complain about that. Okay, this year they're tied for 28th. They've already given up 14 touchdown passes. Okay, they're on pace on a 16-game schedule to give up 37 touchdown passes. Last year they gave up 22. This year they're on pace to give up 37. This year they're on pace to give up 15 more touchdowns passes than they did last year. They're giving up 1 extra touchdown pass per game. So this year, they given up 357 points. Okay, I'm sorry, last year they averaged 22.3 points per game. They gave up last year. All right, this year they're tied for 30th. Okay, they've given up 177 points so far. They're giving up on average 29.5 points per game. Last year they gave up 22.3. This year they're giving up 29.5. They're giving up 7 more points per game. They're giving up a touchdown. Not a point, not a couple points. A touchdown more per game than they did last year. And we beefed up the defense. There's more stuff. I mean, I could be here for like about 3.5 days just talking about the difference between this year and last year, the stats, and those are just a few of them, okay? So then you go, obviously then you got to go to the offensive side, okay? They went to girly world. They spent some money, right? They brought in John Ross 1 year, prove it, kind of deal 1 year, $2.25 million. Now, also on the defense, they brought in, they got like Reggie Ragland and Danny Shelton. They brought in some other guys for like 1 year kind of deals and stuff like that, So, they brought in other guys too, on the defense, okay? I was just trying to show off some of the bigger guys. It's the same thing here on the offense, okay? John Ross 1 year, $2.25 million. They brought in Kenny Golladay, the big guy, right? 4 years, $72 million. Okay, we brought him in. We brought in Kyle Rudolph, 2 years, $12 million. We brought in Devontae Booker to back up Saquon, okay, in case he couldn't go in the beginning, or to spell Saquon and give Saquon a rest during the game or something like that. We gave him a 2-year deal for $5.5 million. Now, you also got to realize, too, okay, that the Giants, all right, in preseason pretty much signed the best defensive lineman in free agency. They signed pretty much the best wide receiver, or the most expensive wide receiver in free agency, and Adoree Jackson, the cornerback, in free agency. So the Giants didn't go, they didn't go down. Well, we'll take the 10th best cornerback. Well, Kenny Golladay's a little expensive, so we'll go down 6th or 7th or 8th. We'll get this guy for maybe $7 million a year. We'll get this defensive line. They could have let Leo Lyon walk, and they could have signed Dalvin Tomlinson. No, they went out, they spent the money. So they brought in apparent talent, okay? Nate Solder came back, to help out the offensive line, if you want to call it that. He took a pay cut to help stay on the team, okay? The Giants went out of their way on, during the draft. They drafted Kadarius Toney, Mr. Joystick. They got Gary Brightwell, okay, Right? So, you got Daniel Jones, they got these weapons, wide receiver weapons. I mean, Saquon's coming back, Devontae Booker, Gary Brightwell, I mean, all the help Daniel Jones out. Can't really say they really helped the offensive line. Okay, but with the extra firepower and Saquon coming back, they should be at least as good as they were. They should be even maybe a little bit better. Maybe the offensive line, is still about the same, but the extra firepower, we got to get a little better, right? Wrong. Okay. The problem, there's a couple problems. Obviously, the one would be the injuries, right? But the other thing is, the cash, all right? They spent too much. Right? They're a little cash strapped right now. Now, you can look at, you can say, like, with the injuries, okay? Now, and there's no team, okay, in the NFL, all right? If the amount of wide receivers they have out, their starting running back, if they lose, a team goes, lose their left tackle, their left guard, their starting center, they're starting, Sterling Shepard's is hurt. Kadarius Toney's hurt. Kenny Galladay's hurt. Darius Slayton's out. Evan Ingram with his K. Our starting tight end may not even be in there. There's nobody who's going to win really any football or win a Super Bowl with the injuries that the Giants have. Okay, but so I'm saying, so you can go injuries, but you can also kind of look in a way like the Ravens. Okay, they have 17 guys on injured reserve. 17. They're 5-1. Now they could easily be doing. They could easily be 3-3. All right, it's just sometimes are you and you are what you are, but sometimes I don't care what they say. You're lucky. Okay, they had to kick a 66-yard field goal, the Ravens, on the final play of the game to beat the Lions. The ball bounced on the crossbar and bounced over. If the ball went maybe an inch shorter, that 66-yard field goal maybe bounces away, doesn't go over, and the Lions win the football game. If the play before that, if the guy got tackled for the Ravens, if he got tackled say 6 inches farther away from the goalpost, maybe Tucker's field goal never makes it there. So he had to kick an NFL record by 2 yards, NFL record, a 66-yard field goal on the last play just to beat the Lions. And it didn't clear. It had to hit the crossbar and bounce over. As I said, if it hits the crossbar and bounces away, the Ravens lose that game. Then you got the other one when they beat the Chiefs. They were beating them 36-35 with about 1:20 to go in the game. The Chiefs were driving. They're down around the Ravens' 32-yard line. Patrick Mahomes hands the ball off to Edwards-Helaire. All he's got to do, one thing he's got to do, hold on to the ball. He's got the ball. The first defensive player comes in, pokes the ball out. The ball fumbles. Ravens get it. Ravens ball the other way. Game's over. They had the ball around. The Chiefs had the ball down by 1 point. Had the ball around the Ravens' 32-yard line. 1:24, I think it was, to go in the game when the play got called. So if Edwards-Helaire even gets tackled at the line of scrimmage, it was second down. Maybe they get a few more yards on third. I'm not saying if the kicker would have made the field goal. It would have been a 48, 49-yard field goal. It would have been like they did, but certainly a makeable field goal. All right. But Edwards-Helaire fumbles the ball. Ravens get it. Ball goes the other way. Chiefs could have won that game. So the Ravens certainly could be 3-3. But they're 5-1. But my point is, they got 17 guys on IR, okay, and they're 5-1, okay, and they went out and they beat the Broncos. They went into Denver and they beat the Broncos by double digits. I forgot what the score was, 23-10 or something like that. They whooped up on the Broncos, who whooped up on the Giants. The Broncos came to New Jersey and kicked the Giants' ass the first game of the season. Well, the Ravens, with all those injuries, went to Denver and kicked the Broncos' rear end. Okay, something the Giants can do. So what do the Ravens got? They have, obviously they're well coached. Okay, but also they have depth, something the Giants don't have a lot of. They have good quality depth. The guys are coached properly, so if somebody goes down, They have somebody, a decent guy. I'm not saying they got Hall of Fame backups, and I'm not saying that, but I mean they have good quality depth. So if somebody gets injured, they have depth, quality depth. The guy takes his place. Okay, and that's something the Giants don't have. I mean, the Giants can't even bring in anybody because they have no money. They can't bring in nobody. I mean, so anybody the Giants are bringing in, they're all at the league minimum. So I mean, it's like you look at some of these guys. It's kind of like, the Giants bring this guy in. I'm like, oh yeah, who is this guy? I mean, now looking online, I'm like, hey, he doesn't have any snaps this year. Why doesn't he have any snaps? I mean, because he stinks. No, he might be on a team's practice squad or something like that. I mean, that's all the Giants can bring in. They have a lot of areas they don't have quality depth because they spent heavy, in certain areas, and the guys behind them aren't any good. Okay, so that's something the Giants are in trouble for. Now, the Giants, anytime they're bringing anybody in, okay, as I said, they can't afford to bring anybody in, because they have no money. All right. Then you look at the Browns too. The Browns are 4-3. Okay. And speaking of the Broncos, the Browns just beat the Broncos, who kicked the Giants' butt in Week 1, and the Browns beat the Broncos with a backup quarterback. The Browns are beat up too. Okay. Say Baker Mayfield's not even in there, but the Browns have other injuries as well too. Okay. But I mean, they got a backup quarterback, Case Keenum. He's a nice quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But they had a backup quarterback in there, and they beat the Broncos, who kicked the Giants' butt. And the Browns are 4-3. Okay, they have some good quality backup. The Giants don't. The Giants spent heavy in certain areas, and they're cash strapped now. And if anything happens to anybody, they bring in guys. I mean, like Blake Martinez. Spent heavy on him. He's out for the whole season. We got Tay Crowder in there, and I mean he's grading out like a 32 or 33 or something. I mean he's having a brutal season. He's making some nice tackles. He's getting a decent amount of tackles and all, but I mean he can't cover. I mean he's having a brutal season. So it's like you got like like a James Bradbury getting paid this, and if he gets hurt, the guy you bring in is like way down here on the pay scale, and he's not any good. It's like the same thing like with the Giants, like Andrew Thomas, first rounder, okay? He gets hurt, who do you bring in? You bring in, doesn't matter if you're bringing in Cunningham, Parrott, Solder, nobody can take his spot. We have no good quality backup. Okay, you got Nick Gates. Okay, he had to slide over to take Shane Lemieux's spot, but then we bring in Billy Price in. Billy Price is working his rear end off, I get that, but Billy Price is struggling too. He's having a hard time, all right? Then we had Shane Lemieux, all right? You bring Shane Lemieux, he gets hurt, whoever we bring it in, putting in, Ben Bredesen, Martin. I mean, these guys are not doing real well. We don't have quality backups in a lot of areas. Plus, also, I mean, then you go look at the wide receivers. Wide receivers, I mean, it doesn't matter. We're getting 4 or 5 guys hurt. I mean, it's you're bringing up the second and third string wide receivers. It's almost impossible to field a decent wide receiver crew with the amount of injuries we have. That I get, okay. But I mean, the Giants, they have. I mean, Dave Gettleman likes to go into the season with like about $10 or $20 million. He said that before. For injuries, if a couple of guys go down, maybe you can go, maybe make a trade and bring a guy in and pay him some money, But the Giants can't do that because they have about $2 million and even restructured a couple guys salary capped. All right, like James Bradbury recently, they just structured his and they just saved themselves a little bit more. But they only have about $2 million. They can't bring in anybody. They have no quality depth. And they can't bring in anybody, all right? Because they only have about $2 million. And then the thing is, next year, okay, they only have about $3 million. And with that, they're going to sign 10 draft picks. The 2 first rounders alone are going to eat up that $3 million. And then they got 8 other guys they got to try to sign. I mean, how are you going to do that? Right? I mean, and then you expect them to bring in any free agents next year with $3 million? And then like the year after that, they might have to sign Daniel Jones to a nice big heft if they're going to keep him. I mean, whatever he's making now, he might get $35 million. So, so there goes a big chunk of the salary cap. And then I don't know if they're going to keep Saquon or not. But I mean, whatever he's making, if they're going to keep him long term, he's going to probably want $15 million or something if they're going to keep him. So there goes some of the salary cap as well too. But I'm saying, but just right now they have no money. Going into next year, they have no money, and they got to sign 10 draft picks. So one of the things, one of the other problems is that for them to, they're saving some money now by restructuring the contract. Well, sooner or later you got to pay these guys. So I mean, some of the contracts are unbelievable, like next year or the year after that. So you might have to start letting some of these guys go, just to save enough money just to be able to sign some draft picks. But then you start letting, like, maybe James Bradbury go. Now you just let one of your corners go. So now your team's even worse. Or like, say, Blake Martinez, say he's injured or something, you just want to let him go. Well, you let him go. Well, now you need a linebacker in the middle who can make tackles. Now your team's worse. Or Adoree Jackson's not hanging. They're doing it. Well, you let him go, but then you take a big cap hit. But now you got to find another cornerback. So now your team's worse once again. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. They have no quality. They have no money. I mean, they're in a lot of trouble. And I really feel sorry. Whoever takes Dave Gettleman's job, which is a possibility, whoever takes his job after the season's over with has really got his work cut out for him. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!